favorite people. My name is Mark. I'm a Powerland project instructor and currently I teach in the DAT class. Uh, my nickname is Mark the Dopest Geek, and I would like to introduce you guys to a very good topic today. I want to be talking about APIs and how to work and consume APIs in Flutter project. But before we delve deep into the Flutter world, I think it's better first we understand what the APIs are, what we mean by APIs, and what APIs can do. So let's start. We live in a world of data, and it's data everywhere in our current world. And for instance, some few examples of data. We have weather data. Today the world is like you have all the world in your thumb. I want to know the weather in US in a click of a second. I can know the weather in US either by news. I can look into a weather app, and if I wanna ask something, I'll go into Google and ask anything and get countless results. There is social media, there is public and government databases, and to be frank, it's a world of data, and data is everywhere. So most of the time when you're working with your apps, you will realize that you need some way to get the data that is out of the world into your app, and that's where the APIs come into place. APIs simply help us take data from the outside world and pull it to our apps, and also they help us like broadcast whatever the information we have into our apps. Like we can collect so many information using our apps today. To name a few, but not limited to them, it's you can collect geolocation data like the latitude and the longitude of where the user is. You can collect you can capture a picture via a camera and post it to the social media. Also, you can post it somewhere else. You can record an audio. So our mobile phones are also data capture devices. So we can also capture data from our devices and broadcast it so that the world can have via an API. So APIs simply help us take and give data. So APIs can be consumed with many things, but our main focus today will be consuming and working with APIs in our Flutter apps. How can we integrate the APIs into our apps? And let's dive deep into the topic. So how do APIs work? Simply, as I was explaining, an API first starts with a request. There are a variety type of APIs, but nowadays we use JSON APIs. Back then, and there are still some systems that are using something that we call SOAP APIs, which are complex and won't be the main topic of today's session. But we will talk about the new way, which is the JSON APIs, whereby you send a request to the server like, hey, server, I want this piece of information, and the server responds with the right type of response to give you the information that you ask. And just in case the server doesn't have the information you requested, it can give you feedback telling you that sorry, maybe a certain status code, maybe 400, and sorry, we don't have the piece of information that you have been asking. So what you see here, it's a computer, and here it's a server, and these arrows represent the requests, and this between here, some some crazy terminology. It's the major type of request, that major type of actions that you can ask for the server to provide. And a get, a post, a put, and delete. These are more, we call them methods. So like to get up to speed, get is mostly used to request information from the server. Post is used to we say send information to the server, like you can upload images as post, you can send text, small data, big data, you can send streams to the server using the post request. Put mostly is like the post, but put acts as a type of method that is used to update the data that is already there, and delete, the word suggest is used to delete a piece of information to the server. So these are like the main methods, and these are the methods that will be using from time to time. There are more methods than this, but are not typically used in day to day. So there is the head, there is the other ones. Okay, so that's basically it. So how do we integrate APIs into our Flutter apps? It's easy. In 6 steps, you have your APIs connected to your app. So in order to integrate the APIs into our Flutter application, first we have to know the endpoint of the API. There are different these APIs, they're free available APIs like the weather APIs and other APIs, but also there are the APIs that you can develop yourself from scratch. Maybe if you know a server-side language like Python, PHP, Node.js, then you can develop the APIs by your own, but you don't always have to do that. They are pretty cool, amazing APIs for almost everything. So that can be easily accessible. Okay, for instance, there is this guy's called Rapid API. You guys can check on them. There are a bunch of free APIs here that you can do almost anything. Maybe I want to create a blog app, and such blog APIs, a bunch of blog APIs. If I want to create like a forum, such a forum, a bunch of forum APIs. Maybe I want to work with weather data and type weather, countless weather APIs, AI weather, and so many more. So check these guys, Rapid API. Pretty cool, pretty good APIs they have. So the first thing, you gotta get the API endpoint. After you get the API endpoint, because it's Flutter that we're talking about, then you need to have a relevant package that you want to work with into your app. And currently, these are selections. You can work with HTTP, Dio, Chopper, and the rest. Personally, my personal favorite is HTTP, but Dio is good too. It makes some other complicated things to do rather easy, rather than the HTTP. The HTTP is there are some things that they can both do, but it can be like you can write some reasonable amount of boilerplate, which it can be maybe hard for a beginner. And those things, I'm talking about, maybe you want to report a progress for a file upload or a file download, or cancel a file upload or a file download, and the typical. But the ones listed here are all pretty cool APIs. My personal favorite is HTTP. I encourage you to use Dio too, and pub dev. Let's see, HTTP. The way we select packages in Dart, we look at the popularity, the pub points, and the likes, and see like does this package have do they continue support for this package. So if I look at the HTTP, likes counting to 6,000, pub points around 140, popularity 100%, good package. When we go and look at Dio Flutter pub, we see, yeah, Dio does not have as many likes as HTTP, but these are a lot of likes, and does not have as many pub points as HTTP, but this is a lot too, and the popularity is the same. Trust me, that is a good it's a good package too. So there is another, I say it's Chopper, yes, Chopper.api. search for chopper, and they gave me chopper results. Okay, so chopper pub chopper at pub dev. I want it on pub dev so that we can see. Yes, and there we have the chopper. Popularity a little more small likes and PowerPoints, but it's a really good API to and a good package to use. So that's it. You need to choose a package of your favorite. Create a custom file that stores URL endpoints. I'll show you this. This is a good practice, and create a model class to parse the JSON into a reasonable data format, and create a file that handles the actual API call and write specific methods to fetch data and parse it. Use the data in your app, and wow, you're good to go. So let's go fast so that I can also do some very fast practical of whatever that I'm talking about. So let's get up to speed. So get the API URL endpoint. We'll get some. We'll choose a package. We'll go with HTTP, and we'll add the package that we want. You can see the tutorial used HTTP too. Then we'll create a constant file that store the API endpoint and call it API constants, and then again we'll create a model class to parse the JSON into some sort of data structure. So quick type. Okay, I can see we can try to use these helper tools, like you can see JSON placeholder typicode.com users. I think this is, you just post the JSON, and this library helps you. Okay, this is this is the API that we'll be working with, and you'll be able to obtain the entire JSON. You can see it into Postman, or you can have you can create a model class using a simple method. Go to, yeah, this is the image they show. It's quick type. This is it. The quick type over here. You can give it a JSON format, and to suggest the code for your specific language. And let's go with Dart. Yep, we want it in Dart, and the structure for our object. Our object, I think, looks like this. So let us put it there. Yeah, we should appreciate our age. There are so many tools to make our lives really easy. Okay. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, I think this is it. It created the whole thing. So at the end, let's get to the end of the tutorial. Okay, created the models and everything. Create a file that handles the API call and write specific method to fetch and parse it. So it's the file that is called API service, as it can be seen. And then you use the data in your app. Then so we're gonna come to our app, and we're gonna use the data to do something in our actual app. The above code. So created an API, and it looks like this. So I think now it's a good time to get our hands dirty. Let me open my IDE. My personal favorite is VS Code Studio. I'll be using Android Studio for now for this specific lesson, but no, let us go with VS Code. So project. Let me open. Okay, so I think in order for us to get up to speed, I should start by creating a new project. So cd desktop, there it is, and we'll do Flutter create API sample project, and then creating my project created. I'm gonna open my project with VS Code, and we're gonna do what we've been told to do. The first things first, I wanna install the packages. Okay, first thing first, we run our app and see how it looks. Our first demo Flutter app. Okay. While waiting for the IDE, while waiting for the emulator to open up, I want us to multitask and continue doing other things while the emulator is open. Does even the emulator open? Okay, let's make sure the emulator is launching. Yeah, I want to launch an iOS emulator. Yeah, as an emulator is launching, let's get busy and do the other things. I'm going to open a terminal in VS Code, and luckily I'm going to put it in this mode so that we have both. So that we can have both the app and the code, like right there. Okay, cool. So emulator is opening up now. I want us to run our Flutter app on the emulator, and in the meantime we work with our packages. Remember, we talked about the packages, and I told you in advance that I'll go with HTTP. So then I will go straight and add HTTP. So Flutter add HTTP. So I'm adding my the HTTP package, and I think it's already downloaded, and I guess also there's our Flutter app. Yes, our Flutter app is building, and we shall have it soon. I want to get back to the article so that we put it side and side and try and do exactly what the article said. So I've already created the Flutter app. I want to go this get the API URL and endpoints. I think we need to create the first file that we call, okay, we've already done this. You can see I did it with command by doing a command called pubad http, and when we go to our pub spec, right here you can see our HTTP package has been added successfully. So this has been done already. Now we're going to create a constant file that stores the URLs and endpoints, API constants. That's how the tutorial called it. So new file, let me just call it API Dart, and what this is just a simple class. Okay, rather than calling it API, because it can be misleading, let me call it endpoints. Call it for what it is exactly, class endpoints, and there we go. I'm gonna copy this code right here as they are, and I'm gonna put it right here. And so that's a list of our endpoint. We have our base URL and the user's endpoint. After we've done that, we create a model class to parse the JSON, and this is where we went and got to this tool over here, whereby it helped us to generate our models. As we can see, all of them are there, dot convert. I wanna copy the code, as you can see there. Get back to my project, create a new file, call it models. Just go direct and paste everything that you've copied right there. Okay, this is welcome. Why did they call it welcome? No, this is not welcome. Okay, they didn't know the name of the okay. Let me follow instructions rather than going as I'm going. Okay, even here I can see it said welcome. And the first part is to paste the JSON response in the option on the right and select that in your model to generate. Your model class file will look something like this. So I want to replace everywhere that they have named welcome to user, because actually this is parse to JSON. How can I name? Okay, the name right here. So I'm gonna call it user. Yeah. Wow. I'm grateful because it was easy. I was now trying to start and think we need to replace all the welcomes with whatever that it is. Yeah, because I know our model is a user model, and here I just pasted everything as it is. Let's see what we have here. I can see we have a user class. This is a constructor, and this is a factory that we're gonna create the user from whatever a JSON response that we have. And this is a class that will convert our class back to JSON format. And because user class depends on an address class and also a company class, I can see they have also been created. Like this is the address, and there is the geo, and there is the company. Perfect and beautiful. So that's it. I'm not gonna touch anything right there. I'm just gonna get back to my article and the file that we created, a file called models, and it contains this type of information. And now we come and create now the actual file that handles the API and write the specific method to fetch data and paste it to the API. So that's gonna be the API service, and now this is what I'm gonna name it as an API Dart. So it's just a class, nothing fancy, it's not rocket science. API service. So in the API service, I'm gonna declare a function to actually do the actual API call. So the function is future list. I'm gonna explain what does it mean, and it's a user model. So to me, I didn't write it as a user model. It's just the user. Get users. Okay. Get users, and it's an async function. It's an async function. Okay. Wait. What is this? Okay, so I can see this is a class. It's called an API service, and this is a class method that is called get users. The word async right here means that this method is gonna be asynchronous. Like it's not gonna happen synchronously, rather it's gonna happen asynchronously. We have to wait a number amount of time for this method to actually complete. And what is this weird declaration over here? This is a return type, and a future means a response is going to be available sometime in the future, and the list, it means the response is actually a list, and the list of inside the list is user. We just mean that this list is a list of users, and this weird question mark means that this response will either be available or not available. Sometimes it may return null. So that's basically it. Let's implement the method. Of course, I can copy and paste, but I want to write so that you guys can actually see how it is, and we can all get to understand each other well. Okay. So that's it. By the look, I think I get it, what I need to do. Maybe the important thing is to copy this because we are gonna use it. So do the import, and here now. The first thing, remember, we get back to our article. It's get the API URL and endpoints. So I have the endpoint, and I'm gonna formulate a URI. Maybe put it as a final URL and use a URI.https. The authority, I think it's the authority is the base URL. Okay, the authority comes from our endpoints. That's base URL plus. Okay, let me not do this one. There are different ways to do that, but because our endpoint already has the HTTP at the end, so we are just gonna parse. We just use URI.parse. So we're gonna parse our string. So it's the endpoint, the base URL plus the endpoint, user's endpoint. So that's basically our endpoint. And the next thing we are gonna do is we're gonna actually, because this can fail, so we don't want to risk any failure, so we're gonna wrap it into a try catch statement so that our app won't break when anything fuzzy happens to the API call. So the rest is we're gonna respect our final response to be obtained after we await our actual http.get. So remember, I told you there about like 4 methods you can do with the APIs and even more. So HTTP has some methods to do every one of those. Like when I because this is a GET request, that's why I use GET, but it could also be POST, and it could also be delete. It could also be put. Yeah, this is how you do different HTTP methods. So for now, I'll just do the GET method, and the URL is that one. Put it there and wait. So I'm doing a different syntax, I believe. Okay, yeah, here I waited too for the URL, and now we are gonna check the response if the response is okay, so let's see the response. So responses have different status codes. So if response dot status code equals to 200, then it means our request is okay, so we can try to get our user models. Understand? And do we have, let me see, 2 models, user to JSON. Okay, user from JSON. Okay, it returns the user and okay. I think I wanna paste the whole like they suggested and put it here as a whole, not just here, as a whole, and see if I'll get any different. Yes, there was this one, I didn't have user list users from JSON, so it gives me a list of users from whatever my JSON is. So this is the code I'm gonna copy, and I'm just gonna refactor my models and paste the new variation for my models and continue with my API service. So if the response is 200, which is okay, so we're gonna try to get the list of users. This is what we see as on the article. This is what was done, expecting a list of users. I'm gonna say list of, because this is the return type we're expecting. List of, my model, I named it user, and I call it users. We get to user from JSON. I think this is it. User from JSON. What does, yeah, it returns a list of users. Yeah, this is beautiful. And where do we get our JSON? We get it from our response.body. So that's it. So if we have our list of users, we will happily return the list of users. Aside from that, we are not gonna do anything. Maybe just log the whatever error that has happened. And guys, look, yeah, okay, the error that is string. Okay, nope. Either to string, yeah. So we're gonna post. Okay. The argument string can be assigned to a parameter. Okay. Let's just forget this for the moment. We will print the error if it happens. Yeah, that's it. So I want to just come back and focus on the UI. So we already have our API service. So right now we're just waiting to actually use this. So you can see this is our demo counter app. When you see a press counter, it counts very fast, but we are going to remove every code that is there and remain with a rather simple application that we will be able to work with. So like this one, remove it, remove everything there, remove the comments because I'm not working with the counter, remove. And by now I expect you guys, you know, stateful and stateless widget. That's why you try to work with the APIs. I don't expect you to be complete beginners while listening this. So that's it, remove that, and almost at the end. Okay, now we have pushed. Okay, that's what it says. It's a column. I don't want anything over here. I just want it clean, and I don't want this type of an alignment. Just want it clean, and the increment floating action button, no, I don't want it to. So that's clean. Let us try and rebuild our application and see how it looks. Yeah, Flutter demo homepage. And do we want to call it Flutter demo homepage? No, this is Flutter demo API. Yep, Flutter demo API. Maybe let us see. Yep, that's Flutter demo API. So let's now go straight to step number 6, which will be our final step, whereby we're gonna use the data in our app. So like to display that list of users. So over here we can see initiated a state, and while the state has been initiated, it called the method called getData, and getData uses API service to actually get the users, and it delays it. I don't know what it's doing. Maybe I'm gonna implement it on my own way, and I can see he has a view. If user model is not there, it's not gonna it's gonna display cycle progress indicator. When the user model is he is gonna do this view builder, and he's gonna be building the views for whatever ways he knows he's doing it. So let us do exactly this, what he did in our own way. So okay, it's not clean yet. Yeah, make it clean, clean. Everything that we're not choosing, I don't want it. Clean. Yeah, this is a cleanup. And I'm gonna remove this counter logic because we are not gonna deal with the counter logic. So we are expecting a list a list of users, and let us call them users. And to start with, they're gonna be now. And let me not do this. I wanna do, to start with, let's make them as an empty list. And let us also have a variable which is a boolean. Let's call it loading, and let's instantiate it to false. And let's implement our method that says is called fetch users. In this method, what we are doing is fetching users. We go to our API, we look for our API service, and how did we call our method into our API service? Let me see. We go to our API service. Oh, okay. We need to instantiate the service. Okay, so no worries. Service. But I thought it's let me see. Okay, I can use it on a go. So it's just you do API service with the braces closed, and you call this method get users. So this is actually what's gonna get the users. I'm gonna show you a different syntax, like a promise syntax. Then when this method finishes, so when fetch users is called, I want us to set a state, and we say right now we are loading some users, and when it is done, this is another syntax. I could make it an asynchronous function. This is another syntax. Trying to see if there's anything that I'll be missing. No. Get users. Then here I'm expecting it's gonna give me a list of users that I'm gonna call them users, and here I should write a logic of what I want to do when I receive the list of users. Let me see, get user, return the list of users, but not a must. It's not a must. It can return null too. So I'm gonna say inside here, if users are not equal to null, we would like to set state why is set state not working? Okay, put in here. Okay, because it's inside a promise. Why isn't it working? Expected to find carry braces. Set state set users to whatever we have received from users. That's what I want to do. But okay, please give me suggestions. What do you want to do? Extract builder. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with these guys. Okay, so I'll do it the other way around. Take it out, fetch users, make it asynchronous, and say to yourself, list of user, which you call it users. You're gonna get that when you wait for get users to finish, and if now the users are not equal to null, I would expect you to set state here. You can see now it's users, and put the users that you received, and also Don't forget to update your loading state back to false. Yeah, that's it. This is for our API method to fetch users, but now we would want to start fetching our users when we load our app. So that's how we want to do it. So we're gonna override a function called init state. That override init state. Why is it not overriding? Okay, I want to override this method. So when it starts, we actually call our method. When this widget, like, it's mounted, we want us to call our method the fetch users, and now we come back to the screen. So here into our screen, I want us to do two things. We are not gonna work with a column, but we are gonna do this. We're gonna check if it's loading. We want to display a circular progress indicator, and when it's not loading, I want us to do a list view builder, whereby an item builder usually has context and index, and they need to return a widget. To me, it's gonna be a list type. So that's first things first. And in order for the item builder to work, it needs an item count, whereby we're gonna get it from users.length. That's perfect. And lastly but not least, let's populate our list style by selecting the current user. I can say user. We're gonna get it from users, giving it an index, and that will be our current user. User try find user. So this is a new variable called user, and we're gonna get the user from the index, and perfect. That's beautiful. And now populating our list style. Let's see. A list style it has a title, so let's use the title for the list style for the user dot. We put the username in the title. Yeah, but it's a text. So a text and user dot. Okay, user dot name. Before we get any fancier, let's try and see if our app works, and we can get a little bit fancier as we are wrapping up our session. I can see it says error, couldn't resolve the package HTTP. It couldn't resolve the package HTTP. Don't get. Try again. Okay. So why not go to API? And it says it couldn't resolve this package HTTP package as HTTP. Okay, let me do again. Flutter pub-get. Everything's there, and trying again. Okay. Or do a hot reload. Guys, and the team of my big people, we can see our app has worked. So right now we can get a little bit more fancier by actually I want to do two things. Maybe let's have a button like to actually refetch the users, and the next thing is let's like populate more our list style so that it can contain more details based on the data we have. The list style has a subtitle. Let's default the subtitle to email. Okay, we can use string interpolation, a feature that is offered by many new languages nowadays. So user email, do user.phone. Let us see how does that look. Yeah, so instance of user.email. Okay, so these are actually user.email, user.phone. Okay, so they're actual instances. Let me see. User.email, it's an instance. Okay, so I think maybe it's the syntax. Maybe in order to use string interpolation, I need to wrap it in curly braces, and this is, yeah, I think it's that way. That's how we do it. So it's user.phone. So let us see how that looks. Yeah, guys, it looks amazing. Let's add maybe a leading. Maybe let's add an icon. Icons.user, icon.person. Yeah, there is that one. Icon, and let's see how it looks. Wow. Guys, this is good. I like what I'm saying. Okay, so one last thing, it's let's add a button to like refetch the users. So to achieve this, I'm gonna use a column with some children. One children, I make it expand, and I paste whatever I had in the beginning, and additionally maybe I can have a button. Maybe we should have an outline or elevator button. Let's have an elevator button. When we on press, we want it to fetch the users, and the child of this button should be just a text saying refetch, and that's it. Let us see how it looks. Great. Refetch. I didn't like the alignment of the button, so use the column cross-axis alignment, put another cross-axis alignment to start and see. Yep, and also now this gives me another task that I didn't like, the way this button is completely on the edge, no space to breathe. So I'm gonna wrap my column inside another widget, a container maybe, and so that we can apply some margins. So it's do some margins and see. Beautiful, guys. Yep. Our app is fully functional, and let me share the code base into Powerline GitHub repository. So I'm gonna log in to GitHub and log into GitHub and do a get to the repo so that you guys can have the source codes, POP.projects, and I'm gonna create a new repository, and I'm gonna call this Flutter API demo. Yeah, this repo is available. It's gonna be publicly available to every one of you. And last but not least, let us push this. Let us push this, and that's it, guys. That's how we work with APIs and Flutter. Yep. Okay. Writing it, and boom, there it is. And let's make sure everything we did is in our GitHub repository. Refresh the repo, and here we have our API sample project. Let me, no, that's not everything. Git add gst API demo project, git push and yeah, I should always make sure if the codes are in GitHub. And yeah, guys, this is good. The code is there, so anytime you can go, you can visit, and you can use the project. It was a great time doing this session. Ciao, till next time, bye.